Hello and welcome to today's episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Here is our question for the day. I have tried several guitar teaching systems, but nothing seems to work. What can I do? A very good question from one of our friends, and unfortunately the answer is not as simple as just one little thing that you can do and everything is going to magically self-correct. There might be several reasons why things are not working with your program. I will outline the 4 most important ones right now and see if it can help you figure it out. So let's get started. Reason number 1. One of the most important and the most usual reasons why guitar training programs might not work for you is that you are program hopping. And you actually said that in your question that you have tried several programs. The best way to see that is just like boiling an egg. Let's suppose you want to boil an egg and you start your kitchen, you put the egg in the pot with water, and then after a couple of minutes you say, oh, this doesn't work, I'll go try another kitchen. So you stop boiling at this kitchen and you take the pot and you put it on another kitchen. Now the new kitchen is cold again, and by the time a couple of minutes go by, then you say again, oh, this doesn't work, I'll take this to another kitchen, this is not a good kitchen. So what am I trying to say? You have to give enough time to a program for it to work. Even people that do private coaching, which is way more, has much more quick results than if you're just following a guitar program, even to them, I tell them that they need to at least commit to 3 months of working on a specific program before they start thinking about changing things around. Because a program might be perfect for you, but it just might need a little bit more time. So if you're constantly changing, after 2 or 3 weeks, you're constantly changing programs, it's very normal that nothing would work for you and you would stay in stagnation. Reason number 2, maybe you're focusing too much on new materials instead of getting feedback on materials that you already kind of know. And this is way more common than you might think. Now the reason that most guitar players are focused on materials, on new materials, is because a new material, a new exercise, a new technique or a new lick is something very tangible. It's something very specific and something that you will learn something new when you learn it. However, unfortunately, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing, as I've said many times, is the feedback of a person who is knowledgeable and wants to help you get better. So if you're already always focusing on getting new materials, instead of focusing on feedback, you think you're getting better, that you're developing and you're making progress, but you're actually kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So don't worry too much about new material. Worry much more about perfecting the things that you're already doing on the guitar that are going to be used as a springboard to help you get better. And let's move on to number 3. Number three is a plague. It is a very big problem. Something, probably one of the most important things, one of the most harmful things that the beginner or intermediate would have. And this is the following: unrealistic expectations on the speed of improvement. As I usually do, I will give you an example outside the realm of guitar playing to illustrate the point. Let's suppose that you have a young kid going to watch a movie and they see a movie of Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger in their 30s or 40s, when they were like really muscular and very well trained. So the kid gets all excited and says, oh, I'm going to be like that, I'm going to train every day and I'm going to be like that in 6 months. Now, depending on the specific kid and his genes and how much he trains and if he is consistent, it is possible that he could reach a very high level of training and become a very good bodybuilder. However, there's pretty much no way this can happen in 6 months. Both of those examples, people that worked very hard, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it took them several years to reach their peak, actually closer to a decade. So if someone says, oh, in 6 months I'm going to have these results, it's quite possible that the expectations are unrealistic in the specific time frame, not generally unrealistic. So if a student comes to me and he tells me, I want to play like Vinnie Moore, for example, or like Gary Moore, I tell him, okay, we'll do our best to get you there. And in several cases, it has happened. However, if he tells me, I want to play like Vinnie Moore in 6 months or in 1 year, I'm going to tell him, I cannot help you. And the problem, because then the problem does not become the end result, but becomes the time frame that he has arbitrarily set for this end result. And I want to stress this word, arbitrarily, because we're talking about someone who has never done it before, has never achieved this goal before, so that he has any kind of realistic understanding of how the mechanics of involvement, of improvement work, and then he just arbitrarily, randomly decides that it's just going to take 6 months. And it doesn't work this way. So most people will do their 6 months, follow any kind of program that's totally irrelevant, and then when they see that in 6 months they have not achieved their goal, they will give up. Now, the funny thing, actually the sad thing, is that a fair percentage of those people that gave up were doing pretty well. They were actually progressing at a very decent rate, but they got disappointed because their random time expectations were not met. So one of the reasons that your program might not be working as fast as you want it to is because your expectations are unrealistic on how quickly it is possible to advance, which actually means that your program is working, but you're not letting it run its course, okay? And now let's move on to number 4. Number 4, problem number 4, the fourth reason why your program might not work. You might have a good program, you might have good guidance, but maybe your practice habits totally suck. And this is way more possible than most people think. Most guitar players will think that just because they have access to a good coach or to some good materials, it's going to be like a hand of Midas effect, where the coach will say like, oh, and they will be instantly become amazing guitar players. And it doesn't work like that. You don't just need to have access to the materials, you need to practice them in a specific way. As we have mentioned in previous podcasts, using deliberate practice mechanisms, breaking down your daily practice into little pieces and then practicing specific things each day, repeating those specific things, keeping a log, building up your speed using a metronome, all those things that create a good practice schedule. Now, if you're following lesson plans from someone, it doesn't matter who this is, even if the lesson plans are really good and the material you're being given is good, and even if you're not making any big mistake on executing this material, if you're not practicing it the right time, that means with a metronome, that means in making sure you cover everything, just because you don't have good practice habits, this is a very good reason why you might not be progressing fast enough. So this could be reason number 4. So there you have it. 4 different reasons, 4 reasons why you might not be able to be progressing even though you have followed different teaching programs. The problem here is that sometimes, especially if you're at the edge of your abilities in a specific level, you will probably need to do everything correct to be able to continue progressing indefinitely, or at least for a very long period of time. So I hope this helps. Go back, check out these 4 things I mentioned and see which ones of those apply to you. I'm pretty sure at least 2 of them will apply to you. Try to fine-tune your practice and your outlook on how you develop your playing according to those things that you are not following, and hopefully you will be getting better and better in no time. So, as I said, I hope this helps. Keep those questions coming, and I'll see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach.